Roberts, who leads the World Championship, who won in Austria and in Italy, in Spain, in Yugoslavia, and is now 7 points ahead of Virginio Ferrari, starts the race in a very uneasy frame of mind. There was oil on the back of his bike, oil on his boots. He comes up into the lineup alongside Johnny Cecotto, the reigning 1979 750cc world champion, alongside Will Hartog, who won at Hockenheim. And next to Will Hartog is Ferrari, who won at Assen and is only 7 points behind Roberts. Watch those lights. When the red ones go on, there will be 10 seconds to go. Go! And from Woodcote, and look at Barry Sheene doing an absolutely monumental wheelie as the front wheel reared right up and they go down to Cox, lap 1. It's Hartog, it's Will Hartog, the lightning starter. Will Hartog in the white leathers, the Dutch grass farmer, on a Suzuki, and behind him is Ferrari, and behind Ferrari is Barry Sheene in 3rd position, and Sheene going up into 2nd place. What a magnificent start, but Ferrari doesn't take that, and he's back into 2nd place as they go round the right-hander at Beckett's down to Chapel Curve, the left-hander, and it is still Hartog who has made as good a start in the British Grand Prix as he made in the German Grand Prix, which he won. And down and fire! Fire! I can't see who the rider is because the smoke has obscured him. Mick Grant! My goodness, it's Mick Grant on the Honda. A bitterly, bitterly disappointed Mick Grant, who fortunately looks all right. And the new Honda V4 of Mick Grant, who has done so much in Japan to get that machine going for this race, is out of the race on the very first lap. And now this is Kenny Roberts setting about Ferrari, and look at the speed of that Yamaha, because Roberts goes straight past Virginio Ferrari and takes 3rd position and is now closing right up on Barry Sheene. Now the action will really begin, because Barry Sheene will know as soon as he sees the distinctive wheel of Yamaha, and this is the yellow flag out, and the yellow flag is out at Copse, which is, I believe, where Steve Parrish has come off. And look at the symmetry of these riders as they bank to left and right, and they're going down Hanger Straight now at 160 miles an hour, and Roberts takes it. Roberts uses his superior power and blasts past into the lead. Kenny Roberts then, the world champion, who has already won 4 events this year, is the new leader on lap 5 out of 28 in the Marlborough British Grand Prix. Katayama, Takazumi Katayama is in the pits, and that's the 2nd of the 2 Hondas. Mick Grant out on the very first lap. Katayama and Sheene challenging Hartog for 2nd place as they come down to Woodcote at the end of lap 5. And Hartog's going to retake the lead. And he does so, and a great roar goes up from the crowd. This Dutchman is tremendously popular with the British crowd, this gigantic British crowd. And we're seeing a British Grand Prix, the like of which we haven't seen for a very long time. Because just behind these 3 are Virginio Ferrari, 2nd place in the World Championship. Roberts looks over his shoulder. There's Ferrari. And behind Ferrari, who is 4th, it's Van Dulman. And Hartog leads. Hartog leads. Sheene is in 2nd place and Kenny Roberts is in 3rd. And you could put a stopwatch on them, and I've just done so, and the gap between 1st and 3rd is 0.52 seconds, or it was then. Chapel, Hanger Straight. This is where Roberts took the lead on the previous lap, but they will both know it, and he's doing it again. Look at the way he's gaining, but he leaves his challenge a bit too late. You don't break much for Stowe, but you do come up out of the bubble and give a bit more wind resistance by lifting your shoulders and your head out into that 150 mile an hour breeze. That just slows you enough to avoid touching the brakes or going down a gear. And now into club and out of club. Now up through the gears into 6th gear to Abbey Curve and 10,000 RPM and 135 and now 160 miles an hour. Under the bridge at the end of lap 6, absolutely together. Hartog leads, number 3. Sheene second, number 7. Roberts third, number 1. Another lap completed. And 21 still to go, with Ferrari in 4th place, Van Dulmen in 6th position. Behind Van Dulmen in 6th place, it's Cecotto who is 7th, Uncini who is in 8th position, and behind Uncini in 9th position, Christian Saron, the Frenchman, the leader. And the 2nd place now. Sheene leads. Barry Sheene goes through. Marvellous bit of overtaking. Just slid through on the inside of Hartog. And look at the wobble on that bike. Barry Sheene was not at all happy with the handling of his machine in the first 3 sessions of practice. So for the last session, they took a drastic step. Changed the front forks to air springing, and Hartog goes through. A tremendous ding-dong battle between 3 of the top riders today, Hartog, Sheene and Roberts, for mastery and the 15 points in the World Championship, each of them implicitly and absolutely trusting the other 2, because you can't do this sort of neck-and-neck riding unless you do so. Roberts setting up to challenge at Woodcote. Hartog, Sheene, Roberts, no change. 7 laps completed. Sheene challenges again. They go up to 150 miles an hour here as they go down through the gears to Cox. Hartog, Sheene and Roberts round Cox. Up to 6th gear, 145 miles an hour here. Putting 125 horsepower through a contact patch on the road through the rear tyre, which is no bigger than your hand. And that's where perfect timing, superlative reflexes, and absolute mastery of the machine occur from these 3 Hartog, who comes from Aberkek in Holland, a grass farmer. There's Roberts going through. Just for how long? Now, Roberts in 2nd place. But there is a fantastic cat-and-mouse game going on between these 3. Neither willingly giving an inch to the other, each trusting the other 2. And I do have a feeling, nevertheless, that Kenny Roberts, notwithstanding the fact that he must have started the race in a worried state of mind with oil on the rear of his machine, has got the upper hand here. Simply because there is something about the way he is riding that makes me think, and did Roberts' hand off the throttle there? His knee comes out. Hartog is a bit of a distance away. They're closing up on a tail ender now. And Sheene is right behind Roberts, and the tail ender is Ron Haslam, who I hadn't expected to start because he came off in practice and did himself a power of no good. Hartog leading. This is lap 10 out of 28. And now Hartog easing away a little, making my prophecy about Kenny Roberts look a little wrong as he does so, because Hartog has for the first time got a discernible lead. But this is where, going down Hanger Straight, Kenny Roberts, time after time, has managed to feed through more power through the twist grip under his right hand and gain on the Suzukis in front of him. And he's done so as he comes into Woodcote Corner, into Stowe Corner, out of it in 3rd gear, up the very fast stretch, down to Club, 3rd gear. Hartog, Sheene in 3rd position. Roberts sandwiched between the 2 of them. Ferrari is still in 4th place. Van Dulmen is still in 5th place. In 6th position, it is still 79 750cc Cecotto. Then behind Cecotto, and Roberts leads into Woodcote. Now, as the roar goes up from the crowd, who are seeing some magnificent motorcycle racing, it's very, very seldom that you see as close a scrap as this for the lead. Barry Sheene comes out of Roberts' slipstream. You notice the way that they are studiously avoiding that patch of concrete dust on the corner at Copse because they know that underneath it is oil. And watch too, Virginio Ferrari, number 11, in 4th place, because although he's about 2 seconds behind Barry Sheene, who is 3rd, he's not dropping back at all. Roberts has got the first opportunity to break because he's coming into the hanger straight in 1st position with a clear road in front of him, and this is where he will really wind on the power to try and break the toe between himself, Hartog, who is 2nd, Sheene, who is 3rd, and clear off. But it's highly doubtful that he'll be able to do it the way these other 2 are riding. Will Hartog, 31 years old. Barry Sheene, number 7, 27 years old. Kenny Roberts, number 1, 28 years old. Not much in it as far as age is concerned. And Roberts right off the circuit, over the line. He will have lost a fraction of a second there. That shows you how very, very hard Kenny and Will Hartog and that man, Barry Sheene, are trying. Woodcote, the end of lap 11. Hartog in the white leathers. Kenny Roberts in the yellow outfit. And the gap between Kenny Roberts, Ferrari through in 4th place. Sheene up into 2nd position out of Hartog's slipstream. Van Dulman is still 5th. And then, although it's of academic interest, and Sheene riding up onto the curving there. Now, number 11, Ferrari is 4th. Behind Ferrari is Van Dulman. And behind Van Dulman, as they go round the right-hander now, is Christian Saron, the Frenchman. Down to Woodcote again to complete the 15th lap. And now Sheene's doing it. It could well be that Barry Sheene, yes, at the end of the lap, and the crowd rises, the crowd roars, and Barry Sheene leads at the end of lap 15 down to Copse. Will Hartog dropping back all the time. So the Dutchman is either tired himself, and it's quite... And look at that! Barry Sheene, with absolute effrontery, not only looks over his shoulder, but takes his left clutch hand off the handlebar and waves to Kenny Roberts. And cares Kenny Roberts' answer? Don't you wave at me, young man, because this is what will happen to you. And Kenny Roberts has blasted past Sheene, who goes straight down behind the fairing now. The battle is well and truly on, if it wasn't on before. Sheene challenges again. They will know from their pit signals. Kenny Roberts for Cal Carruthers, and Sheene leads. And even there, over the noise of the engines, you can hear the cheer of the crowd. And Roberts goes ahead of Sheene as they go under the bridge. Is he going to be able to hold it as they heel over? Yes, indeed he is. And again, Barry Sheene has been cheated of the lead as they cross the line, and that's where the race finishes. They are on lap 23 now. Roberts nearly went onto that concrete patch there. And what an indication of what a very, very cool rider. And is that Hartog? That's Hartog. Behind Sheene. Will Hartog is putting in a tremendous burst, and he's closing up on Barry Sheene. Will Hartog, who was some 5 seconds behind these two in the closing stages of the race, is piling on the power, and he's caught right up with the two in front of him. Barry Sheene on a work Suzuki like Hartog that you're looking at now. Number 3, the Dutchman from Aberkek, the grass farmer, who won at Hockenheim. And it looks as though Hartog, if he goes the way he is going now, could end up winning this race. He's caught up a tremendous amount in terms of time and distance on Sheene and Roberts. Sheene 2nd, Roberts leads, Hartog 3rd. 1st, 2nd and 3rd go round the right-hander. They're absolutely together. Coming up to Woodcote at the end of lap 27 to start lap 28, and with that tail ender in front of Barry Sheene, now Kenny Roberts goes through 0.69, 69 hundredths of a second ahead of Sheene, and that could well have decided the race in favour of Kenny Roberts, because Barry Sheene is just far enough behind Roberts, I think. Roberts even stands on the rest a little to look back there, but again he's got two tail-enders in front of him, and Barry Sheene is indiscernibly gaining. Roberts into Beckett's. Sheene behind him. Roberts goes through on the inside of the tail-ender, and the tail-ender looks to me very much like Gianni Rolando, the Italian rider. Roberts is past him, Sheene is past him, down the hanger straight for the last time. The 28th time in this 28-lap race, into Stowe Corner for the last time. At 100 miles an hour. It's going to be one of the closest Grand Prix finishes for a very, very long time. Sheene is far enough ahead of Will Hartog not to have to worry about the Dutchman as they go to Club Corner. The last but one right-hander on the circuit, because they're coming up to Abbey, and is Barry Sheene going to be able to do anything about it? I doubt it. But Kenny Roberts goes into Abbey. It's that close, you can hardly divide them on the stopwatch. From Abbey up to Woodcote, underneath the bridge, is going to be tremendously close as they go into the last corner of the race. This is it, at 130 miles an hour. The checkered flag is out. Kenny Roberts and Barry Sheene is gaining. And there is less than a machine's length in it, with a fantastic race, with Will Hartog finishing in third place. And Kenny Roberts won the 1979 Marlborough British Grand Prix at record speed, undoubtedly having shattered the lap record by less than a there, he says, phew, as he shakes his hand. That was indeed, he says, a very close run thing. Barry Sheene has every reason to feel absolutely delighted.
I like racing with him, you know, we don't get that chance much often, but it was nice because I give him a lot of room, he gives me a lot of room, and it's really good. That's the way to race. And it could have gone either way, you know.
So you still, Barry, haven't won the British Grand Prix you've been trying for so long?
Well, it couldn't have come much closer, I suppose. It was good, though, yeah.